It's my great honor today to introduce Maria Karamitsos. I'm sure many of you know her, but there's probably lots of her you don't know. Maria lives in Chicago with her husband and daughters. And after earning a bachelor's degree and later an MBA, both in marketing, she worked in that field for a decade. When the economy took a major dip and marketing positions and whole departments were often the first ones to be eliminated, she decided that a career change was in order. Writing had been the favorite part of her work, and she wondered, might this provide a path forward? So she set out to find out. She started modestly with contributions to Greek Circle, a quarterly magazine. During this time, a networker par excellence, Marie found her way to the Greek Media Club in Chicago, where one of its founders, then the sports editor for the Greek Star newspaper, said, "You know everything that's going on in Greek Chicago. You should write an events column." So in June 2005, Stokentro, her twice monthly event column, was born. She wasn't paid, but it was fun, and it was a step in the door. Other projects soon followed. She wrote and edited the food section for the book Greektown Chicago, Its History, Its Recipes, and she was hired to organize its launch party at Chicago's Hellenic Museum. As the party ended, the chairman of the Greek Star approached her and asked, "What are you doing next?" "I'm going to get some sleep," she said. "We need help," he said. "We'll call you associate editor. You can write whatever you want as long as it's Greek related, and you'll be on the payroll." For the next decade, she served as associate editor and senior writer, doing stories about people, places, history, traditions, entertainment, and more for that paper and for other publications. But by 2015, the flight of advertising dollars to the giant online platforms that is starving newspapers and magazines everywhere, even to this day, made it impossible for the Greek Star to continue, and the paper folded. It was then, I would say, that Maria's career really took off. The Greek economic crisis was at its peak, and news about her ancestral country and its dynamic, hardworking, and kind people was continually negative. One day she read an article that called Greeks lazy, stating that they built the Parthenon and called it a day. She got angry. I think every one of us would have. But Maria isn't someone who just gets angry. She does something. She knew that Greeks around the world were doing amazing things. Those were the kinds of stories she'd been telling for 13 years. And it was in that moment that the idea for her own digital publication sprang to life. It would be dedicated to positive news, all the great things that Greeks around the world were accomplishing. So armed with $1,500, a self-designed website, plus a ton of contacts and passion, she launched the online magazine Windy City Greek on September 30th, 2015. Did I tell you that Maria is a marketing whiz? Over the next 4 years, Windy City Greek became wildly popular as readers from around the world loved its happy stories about everything Greek. Unfortunately, the economics for online publications proved at least as challenging as they'd been for the Greek Star. And after 4 years of working 15 hours a day and enlisting her young family to help, Maria made the difficult decision, and Windy City Greek ceased publication on December 31st, 2019. But the magazine's name had become synonymous with Maria, and people still call her Windy City Greek wherever she goes. I was one of those who flocked to the Windy City Greek, from Canada in my case. And I soon learned that Maria had made it one of her missions to support authors who write about Greece and to bring news of their books to the world. Fortunately for me, because I had just published my first book called The Sifnos Chronicles, Tales from a Greek Isle, and I was looking for places to promote it. It soon became evident that once she takes you and your book under her wing, she never lets go. For myself and tons of other authors. She wrote reviews, newspapers, and blogs. She did social media posts, author interviews. She provided opportunities to advertise to the exact audience you need, opportunities for personal appearances where possible, and much more. It's no exaggeration to say that much of the success my book and its sequel have had is directly due to the exposure Maria provided. The tentacles that reached out to readers everywhere, the people she brought into my life, in some cases, deep friendships that have come, and the spin-offs of all kinds are beyond any I ever imagined. And I probably am not aware of all of them to this day. And I think about it, what a wonderful 3D map that would make. What she's done too is to create a community of writers. I'd call it a parella of authors from around the world. And I've been involved in discussions at times with authors, other authors who write about Greece on 4 continents at the same time. And it's directly attributable to Maria, and also indirectly, actually, that I found my way to the Hellenic writers of Washington, D.C., and all of the wonderful relationships and benefits I've found here. Maria now works as a marketing and public relations consultant, predominantly with authors, those of Greek descent, as well as others like me who've written about Greece or who have a Greek theme. She helps clients with branding, with websites, creating blogs and newsletters, on social media, Amazon author pages, book blurbs, and PR, event coordination, and much more. I had the opportunity to work with her once to create my Amazon author page, and I learned that spending time with her is well worth the price of admission. She showed me how much I still have to learn, and that she's the right person to teach me. And after that experience, I said to her, you have to call yourself the book genie. Maria organizes and moderates author events for Hellenic American Women's Council, the Great Lakes region, has partnered with, Kuklis podcast to promote Greek American women authors. She also does PR for the New York Greek Film Expo and others. In 2022, she had the great honor to posthumously induct Harry Mark Petrakis into the Chicago Literary Hall of Fame. An accomplished writer in a variety of genres, Maria's poetry has been published in The Magic of Us, a Moms Who Write Poetry anthology, in the Pen Poetry magazine, and Highland Park Poetry. Her essays have been published in Voices of Hellenism Literary Journal and in Recipes and Roots. Over the years, her work has also been published in the National Herald, Greek Reporter, Harlot's Sauce Radio, Women Who Write, Shortcuts for Writers, Kriti magazine, and more. Currently, she pens a literary column for Neo magazine and also contributes to Greek City Times and Trip Fiction, and is editing her first novel. But I'm wondering, does she ever sleep? Today, we're honored to hear Maria speak on the topic of marketing, what an author must do before they publish. And I would add, perhaps after, if they haven't done all this before. I know my notebook will be handy. I'll be writing furiously. I'm quite certain I won't be the only one. This woman has so much to teach us all. So thank you, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you, Sharon, for that amazing introduction. And I can say it's a pleasure to know you as well. And someday we are going to meet in person after all these years. Okay. All right, well, welcome everyone, and thank you for your patience. I know we planned to do this presentation last month, but I ended up having to go to New York for a client event and some meetings, and I was on an airplane during last month's meeting. So happy to be with you today. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. Oh, I can't share my screen. Moment.
She has to be made a presenter, I think, to be able to share her screen.
You should be able to share your screen. You're still a co-host.
No.
Do you see the share button at the bottom?
Yep. Yes.
Click, and what do you do what happens when you click?
As one participant can share at a time, multiple participants can share simultaneously, and that's all.
Patty, remove me as co-host so she can
Advanced
share.
sharing options.
Here, now try it.
Okay. There we go. All right, everybody can see this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, now before we get started, a few questions. And I'm gonna go to the grid so I can see everybody. Okay, show of hands. Who has already published a book? Oh, well. Okay. Okay. Of those of you who raised your hands, who has published traditionally? Patty. Okay. Did you get any marketing and promotional support from your publisher? No. Okay. Where are my indie authors? Okay. How are things going? Not if they're going okay. All right.
Do you mean hybrid publishing?
Sure.
Okay.
Hybrid publishing, indie authors. Do you feel like your marketing and promotional efforts are effective? Raise your hand.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
I
Okay,
just,
good.
I just want
Mine
to,
are not.
I just want to,
I'm not.
I just wanted to say my first book is coming up, and it's traditionally operate in indie press. I think she does, but I think she gives us a lot of publicity. There's no money involved, but I think we have to do a lot of the work ourselves as well. From what I don't know yet.
Okay, wonderful. Congratulations. Okay, well, I'm sorry to say that there's not a magic bullet and no secret formula to marketing and promotions. It takes time to build an audience, to get your name out there, and it is work. And authors more than likely have no support in this, or they don't have any experience in this area. That's why it's important to start before you publish. All right, go back here. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So today I'm going to talk to you about some things to get you started or to get you to start thinking about. You can use them to jumpstart any previous marketing efforts or, like I said, just to get started. But I want to say to you, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So don't think you have to race to make everything happen. You'll want to have sustained marketing efforts going forward. And as a marketing and PR consultant and as a journalist, I'm going to share some pro tips with you as well. Okay, everybody ready? Okay, this is me. You already heard about me from Sharon. Thank you again. Okay. So when it comes to marketing and promotions, you may have thought or said, nah, I just want to write, or my book isn't done yet. I can't afford to do marketing. When I get a publisher, they'll do it for me. I don't know how to reach my audience. I'll worry about that when it's time to publish. Hey, how do you get in the New York Times? No one will pay attention to a new author. My book is for everyone. Once it's out there, they will buy it, and I don't have to do anything. Or, I don't know where to start. Without marketing and promotions, readers can't get to know you. And if they don't know about you, how will they know about and buy your book? You have to start early, before the book is published. Let's look at a definition of marketing. According to Wikipedia, marketing is the act of satisfying and retaining customers. It is one of the primary components of business management and commerce. If you're looking or listening to that and you're saying, huh? You're not alone. Let's look at a book marketing definition. This is from the EIH Digital Agency. It says, book marketing encompasses an array of strategies and activities aimed at elevating the visibility and promotion of a book, with the ultimate goals of attracting readers, amplifying its presence, and driving sales. It encompasses a diverse range of tactics carefully crafted to resonate with the target audience, ignite curiosity, and generate demand for the book. Okay, that seems a little overwhelming, doesn't it? So let's look at this in some simple terms. Book marketing and promotions allow you to define who you are as a writer, identify your ideal readers and how to reach them, build an audience, create lifelong fans, get the word out about your work to ultimately sell books. Now, I want to pause a moment and talk about book publicity and PR. The ultimate aim of book publicity is to connect with relevant media and book reviewers to drive opportunities for earned editorial coverage. This is free coverage. However, the results are not guaranteed. So with that, let's talk about paid versus free. Advertising, this is something you will pay for. So you need to have some good budget if you want to place ads. Publicity and PR are free. The only cost is your time. Same with social media posts and personal networking. Now, when you send newsletters, you'll need an email service provider subscription. For a website, there'll be costs in design, hosting, maintenance, etc. If you're going to do Amazon ads, those are paid. BookBub promos are paid. And there are more. Those are just a few examples. You may have heard the term the 4 P's of marketing. So I want to look at them briefly in terms of books. So the product is your book. You want to make it the absolute best it can be. Price. This comes about through determining the cost of producing the book, editing, etc. For indie authors, there's costs of cover design, editing, proofreading, layout, printing, etc. And that all leads you to the sales price. Place. This is where you sell your book. Is it Amazon, on your website? Do you have bookstore placements? And distribution falls under this category as well. And then promotion, advertising, PR, the overall marketing strategy for introducing a product. You may have heard the term marketing mix. That all falls under promotion. So what does this all mean? And what do you do? You can hire people to help you do it. You can hire at the parts you dislike or don't know how to do or don't want to learn how to do. You can hire someone to teach you, or you can do your homework. And it is work. But the sooner you start, you'll put yourself in a better position when it comes to sell your books, because the initial legwork will already be in place. Start while you're writing. It may seem a daunting task, but it doesn't have to be. Marketing and promotions start well before you publish. Do this while you're still writing. There's so much to do if you want to look professional and have a platform ready to be able to sell books. So don't wait until right before a launch or publication day. Unfortunately, the books will not sell themselves. Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it takes time to build an audience. Let's look at a little bit of terminology. You may have heard the terms marketing strategy, marketing plan, marketing tactics. Okay. A marketing strategy is the big picture, outlining the long-term vision for your overall marketing efforts. It's a roadmap or a compass that guides you in your marketing efforts. It's the overview of how a business, and yes, this is a business, will articulate its plans. Okay, that long-term vision. Okay, so your marketing strategy could be for 3 months, it could be for a year, it could be looking at several years, and it will change depending on where you are in the process. So you'll update this depending on the stage of where you're at. A marketing plan describes actions and tactics you will use to achieve your objectives and goals to realize the marketing strategy. This is how you are going to do it, and it includes the marketing tactics. Marketing tactics are the specific tools you will use to realize the plan and strategy. Examples of tactics are social media, newsletters, etc. In a nutshell, the strategy describes what the marketing objectives are. The plan describes how you're going to achieve them. Okay, and the tactics are the things you're going to use, your tools. Don't get too hung up on the terminology, but still do the work. You'll develop a marketing strategy and plan. This is an example of something I worked on with a client, and we separated the work into various stages. So we knew our strategy was we wanted to build a brand, acquire fans, engage fans, and then engage influencers. Okay, and the long lists under them are some of the planning. Okay, and underneath, you won't see it here, underneath each of these items were very specific. We got more specific in how we were going to do it and what tools we were going to use to make that happen, to realize these goals and objectives. You want to set goals and objectives. So examples of goals are you want to define the author brand and build a solid author platform. Increase visibility and engagement with readers and potential readers to create lifelong fans that will buy every book. Convert social media followers and website visitors to email subscribers. Those are a few examples. Now, objectives, on the other hand, are quantifiable. Okay, so some examples are, say, in 2025, I want to grow my email newsletter subscriber list to 250. Or in 2025, I want to get 500 followers on my Facebook author page. Or I want to post one blog a month. Or I want to send one newsletter a month. Okay. Your goals and objectives will change with time and where you are in the publishing process. But you want to build on your work. So as you adjust your goals and objectives and your plans, you want to gear them to building on the work that you have done previously. You'll need to do some research. Okay, so one of the things that you'll want to do is find comparative titles and authors. Previously, you may have heard the term competitive authors and titles more, but the industry has moved away from this term for several reasons. So first of all, we all know writing is a solitary pursuit, right? And so we want to cultivate this sense of community, right? Authors supporting each other and helping each other, that sort of thing. So now we look at comparative. So thinking about who writes in a similar style as us? Who writes books set in the same place as us? Who has a similar voice, writes in the same genre? Okay, so if you're writing speculative fiction, you're going to look for authors that write speculative fiction. If you're writing travel memoirs set in Greece, you're going to look for other authors that are writing travel memoirs set in Greece. What do comparable authors do and how do they promote? So you're going to start following them, okay? And see what are they doing? Are they sending out newsletters? Where are they? Are they on social media? What channels do they use? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they on TikTok? Do they use LinkedIn? Right? So you want to see where they are and what they're doing, right? You're looking at how they're reaching their followers. Go to their websites. See how they've presented it, right? What elements do they have on their website? What's the tone and style? Do they use consistent colors? Is it easy to follow, right? Can you find what you're looking for? Subscribe to their newsletters, okay? You'll also get a peek there at who's their or their email service provider rather. But see, what do they include in their newsletters? How often do they send the newsletters? And what's their approach? Is it all about their books? Do they share something personal? What types of things are in their newsletters? Follow them on social media. Take a look at how are they posting and what are they posting? How often do they post? Do they get lots of engagement? What sort of posts do they make that get more engagement as opposed to less? Okay. Study what others do and get ideas to help formulate your strategy and give you direction in planning and tactics. Okay. They're already in that market, right? So you can see a path to finding your reader. Let's talk about branding. Okay. So you may not think about it, but you are a business. You're an author. You'll have an author business selling books, right? And so your product is your books. So you need to come up with a brand, right? What's the branding going to be? So I'll talk about this a little bit in a bit, but I want to get you started thinking about some things to get you there. So think about these and write them down. Who are you as a writer? Why do you write? What types of stories do you want to tell? What's the feeling you want to convey? What do you want people to take away from your work? What is your target market? And your target market is not everybody. Okay, so give that some thought. Everything you do is going to be based on your branding, the look of your covers, your bio, the colors and fonts you use on your covers, promotional images, on your website, and your newsletters. If you've heard the term integrated marketing, it means that everything is cohesive and it looks like it goes together. This is what you're striving for. So everything's consistent. And so when people see you, they know it's you, right? Think of the swish, the Nike swish. You don't even have to see the word Nike anymore, right? Or even gym shoes. You know, right, that it's Nike. So you'll develop brand you. You'll write a long and a short bio. And don't wait until somebody asks you, okay, to do this. So have it ready because you're going to use this. Your short bio is going to go across your social media channels, right? So everything's consistent, right? Your long bio, you're going to use on your website, right? If someone wants to interview you later or you're going to give a presentation, they're going to ask you for that bio and you want to have it handy, okay? Get a professional headshot. I can't emphasize enough how important it is. So you look professional and that you're serious about what you're doing, okay? As someone who's worked in the media for many years, and also I host author Q&As on my blog, and I have clients who host author Q&As on their blogs, and I help them with this. And I can't tell you how many times people send in a very teeny tiny little picture right? That they cropped out of a group photo or some other busy photo because they thought they looked good, okay? Now, everybody has different specs for what they're going to do, and they're probably going to blow up that tiny image. It's going to be all pixelated. It's not going to look good, okay? You don't want a picture of, my partner took a picture of me in front of my favorite lilac tree. It's not going to look professional. Okay. So you want a professional headshot, and it's really not that expensive to get one done. You can even sometimes make a deal with a photographer and say, of course, I'm going to give you photo attribution everywhere, but I'll include your website. I'll put your website on my website or something similar. So there are ways to do that, but don't skip out on that. Develop your brand identity, voice, tone, and style. Okay. So this is going to entail what colors. What colors are you going to use in your promotional materials, your website, your brand that convey the style and tone of what you're doing? Okay, if you are writing books about how to relax or sleep better, you might look for soft blue tones, right? If you are promoting positivity and femininity, you might want something in bright pink, okay? And that you're going to use across everything that you do. Um, is your style and your communications, your tone, your cadence, is it going to be more conversational? Or if you're writing nonfiction or you're writing professional books, it's going to include more jargon, perhaps, right? And a little more sophisticated style, perhaps. Define your brand promise, okay? And your brand promise is not something that you're going to put on your website that says, when you read my books, I promise you X, Y, and Z. It's not like that. The brand promise is something inherent in your brand identity, in the colors that you use, the tone, the style, the fonts, the feeling that you're conveying that tells readers, it infers to readers and potential readers what they're going to take away, what they're going to feel, right? When they read your work. Okay. And the pro tip here is to create a brand and style guide so you have all this information together in one place for easy reference. The fonts, the hex numbers for the colors, right? Your long and short-term bio, photo attribution information, that sort of thing, okay? And you'll have this information all together for easy reference. And you'll have it ready to share with anybody you hire, whether it's a cover designer, perhaps it's a virtual assistant, someone you may hire to do social media posts and create graphic images for you, or a marketing person, right? Because you want them all to speak the same language. You don't want them to do that in their own style, right? And voice and tone and identity. You want them to essentially be you and reflect that brand. Let's shift and talk about some marketing tactics. These are the specific actionable activities, the tools that you will use to build your platform and grow your audience. Here are some examples. A website, a platform, right? So getting published and getting your name out there, getting more clips, a blog, a newsletter, and you want to design a sign-up incentive or create a sign-up incentive for your newsletters and build that list, right? By sending regular newsletters, promoting and growing the list. All right, let's talk about a website in a little more detail. Yes, you do need a website. It's your online portfolio. People will Google you, and if they can't find you, they will think you aren't serious. Now, up until the last few years, it was pretty typical to see North American writers with a website, but writers outside the continent not having websites. And I think a lot of that was budget driven, but that's quickly changing, okay? Um, especially, especially with all the changes in social media. Because being on social media is not enough, okay? What if it goes away? We've seen in the last several months a mass exodus from Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I still call it Twitter. And we're now seeing it on Facebook, right? So if that's the only place that you engage with any followers, readers, potential readers, and now they're leaving, right? All that work is kind of lost, right? How are you going to reach them? Okay. So you really need a website. Okay. That's your online home. You'll need to choose a platform. There's all kinds out there: WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, and some of them are easier to use than others. You'll need a URL. Use your name. Okay. You can register it on GoDaddy or a similar program. Don't take a URL like cindywrites.com. Who's Cindy? I have no idea, right? So use your name, okay? And you might want to consider several variations of your name. I use Maria A. Karamitsos professionally because there are other people named Maria Karamitsos. Now, when I went to register my URL, I thought Maria A. Karamitsos, strong with no spaces and no punctuation. The two A's look kind of goofy together, right? And don't add extra punctuation and try to do extra periods because that will confuse people. So I went with mariakaramitsos.com, and that's what I use. But I also own mariakaramitsos.com, right? A lot of times, um, people have gone and bought people's names because they thought they were about to break, right? So you want to own your name in its different variations. So like I said, I also own mariakaramitsos.com, and that I have it set up where if you were to type that in, it takes you right to mariakaramitsos.com. And I use the mariakaramitsos.com for ease, okay? You'll need a host. Find a reliable host. Ask people that you know who have websites. Ask them for suggestions. I use DreamHost. There's Bluehost. There's a vast number of them. Your website can be one page to start. You just need to get a presence up there, okay? Be sure to include your contact information and any links to your social media sites, okay? Your social media pages. So people can find you there and they can follow, okay? You'll want, in that case, make sure you have your professional headshot, your short bio. If you have books, definitely mention the books on there. But a website doesn't have to be complicated. It can be very simple. Your bio and headshot, a page for press, any media clippings. Eventually, you could have an online media kit there. A page for publications, anywhere that you've been printed. Like if you've had an article published somewhere, if you've guest blogged, somebody has published an essay you wrote, you've published poetry, you can put them on that page and link them if you can. Your blog will live there, contact page, link to social media channels. And when you have a newsletter, you want a newsletter sign up on every single page. If you have books, be sure you have a page, page for your books, including where to buy, and include the links, make it easier for everybody. Okay. Again, own your website. There are free sites out there with really long URLs, okay? But if they shut down or change their rules, your information is lost, okay? Let's talk about blogs. Here's a way for people to get to know you and your writing. I know a lot of people say, I don't have time to blog. So I can't, do it. But it is worth your time. Once a month is perfectly fine to post. You can write about things related to your story. Is there something in the news that's related to what you're writing about that you can expand on? Do you have a specialty or an expertise in a subject? Share something about that. Use things that you found in your research. And here's a place that you can test new concepts or ideas to see if they have any legs. Nonfiction writers do this a lot to see if their concept, right, has legs, if there's any interest in it before they go through all the trouble to write a proposal or eventually write the book. My husband has been in sales for about 40 years, and he keeps saying he wants to write a book about sales. Now, he knows sales pretty well after 40 years, but there are an infinite number of books about sales. So he thinks he's found an interesting angle to present his experience. So I've encouraged him to start a blog, right, and publish some of the things that he would like to share in this theme to see if he gets any traction with it, right? And if people are responding, right, they're responding positively to what they're reading, then he'll know if he's onto something, right, before he wastes his time on something that's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so your blog posts are links that you can share on social media, right? So now you have all kinds of things to share. Let's talk a little more about social media. Social media has changed considerably. I don't know about you. I've been on social media since 2009, and it's not the fun place that it used to be. It's easy to get caught up in controversies and angry posts. And please don't fall into the trap. This is your public facing and eventually, or currently, you're publishing, right? And you don't want to turn off potential readers. Keep your social media interactions positive and skip the rants. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. Personally, I've never thought social media was a place to debate things because it's too easy to take things the wrong way or for people to get nasty. We can't see one another. And it's too easy for things to get out of hand. So I'd say skip the rants, just pass through those posts, and save those conversations for in person. Years ago, Michael Jordan received a lot of flack because he was constantly chased by politicians to endorse them. And he wisely said, both Democrats and Republicans have money to spend and they wear gym shoes. So I'm not. And he never publicly shared what side he was on, right? And this was an amazing strategy, right? And look how popular and successful that was. So be like Mike. Okay. On social media, okay, you don't want to post all about you all the time. So you don't want it to be me, 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 buy my books, be me, me, me. Okay, you want to change it up, right? So what else can you publish or post on your social media? So you may hear this term, be a good literary citizen. And that means supporting other authors. Okay, so you can like or comment on posts from other authors, share them, okay, post about them, celebrate their launches, congratulate them on a milestone. If it's their birthday, post a happy birthday message, right? If you loved their book, share that, right? Share information and articles that are relevant to what you're writing. Okay, so this could be like I follow Jane Friedman. for example, or Fox Print Editorial, and they send emails out that are really amazing tips. And so I like to share them on social media as well, and tag people wherever you can, so they can see that that you're being a good literary citizen, and that's always rewarded and reciprocated. Okay, so again, don't make posts all about you. Change it up. Be a good literary citizen, and you will be rewarded, because when you share, others will reciprocate. They'll remember you and they'll get to know you. So now you're forming a community, right? And we're all here to uplift and support each other. I want to add something that I read yesterday. Some very interesting predictions regarding social media. You may have heard of Mari Smith. She is a social media guru. In her newsletter yesterday, she mentioned a few things that I want to share with you. She said that there's more talk about Meta and Facebook being broken up because this is a monopoly. So this could shake that up even further, and Meta owns Instagram. So who knows how that will shake out. There are a lot of rumors flying that Reels is going to be split off from Instagram. Could it be its own social media platform? I don't know. Okay. And she also noted that this concept of followers may be going away in some form, or on the way out as social media goes through this huge paradigm shift. And supposedly it's going to be replaced with an interest model. But I haven't seen more on that. So I'm not really sure if you're going to click that you have interest instead of being a follower. I'm not sure what that's going to happen yet. And Meta's AI-powered discovery engine now selects the content that you're going to see in your feed. Gary Vee, who's another social media and marketing guru, stated that more than 50% of people now don't follow it all anyway. He thinks that followers are done and content now comes to you, right? Chosen from the discovery engine. And he said, and for the people that do follow you, over 90% of those followers come from the feed. So people you're already engaged with. So just some things to keep in mind, which is another great reason why you need a website. So you have an online home, right? And you can direct people there. So you have control over that, where social media, you don't. Okay. And one more tip about social media: you don't have to be everywhere, okay? So pick one or two social media channels that you're comfortable with, that you have found in your research that this is where your readers and potential readers live, and do those really well. You can't be everywhere all the time, and time is not infinite. Get published. Write poems, short stories, essays, guest blog. Get your name out there and build your portfolio. Extra points if you can relate it to your story and mention it in your piece. Okay. And all of these links, right? You're going to put them on your website, on your publications page, and you're going to share them on social media. And always tag the person who has published you. Okay. Do this as often as you can. Okay. Now, when people Google you, they're finding more things to read about you, right? They're finding a trail, right? And your platform is growing. Your platform is your audience. If you start while you're still writing, everything will be in place and your platform will be established. You'll make promoting your book so much easier. Now, if you're thinking, my book is out, but I didn't do this stuff, you're not doomed. Start where you are. Go through these steps and do the work. You'll catch up, level up, enhance your current marketing and promotional efforts. Here's some publicity and PR tips. Your book is out and you're looking to get some media coverage. Think targeted, be specific. Skip the New York Times for now. They usually go for the heavy hitters or someone that breaks out huge. A lot of times they don't pay attention to indie authors or debut authors. Okay, so skip them for now. We can come back to them later. So think about, what's your subject matter? What are you writing about? Where do you read about comparable authors? Okay, so that goes back to your research about comparable authors, right? And you have seen where they have appeared, where they've been reviewed, that sort of thing. Do authors in your genre have a blog and do Q&As? Connect with them. See if they will host you for a Q&A. If you're a travel author, check travel blogs for interview or guest blog opportunities. Are you part of an ethnic or professional group? Find their media and any opportunities. Think outside the typical media and be creative. Look for synergies and you'll find more than you imagined. When you write a press release, okay, you write a press release to send to some of these places that you've identified, right? And your press release will include information about you. There's that bio again, about the book, right? This is your book description, your log line sort of thing. You're going to work that in there. Add in there where the book is available for purchase. Include a quote from a reviewer or an influencer, okay? Not a random Amazon reviewer, right? But if you've got 100 5-star reviews, absolutely. 50 5-star reviews, absolutely, you can mention that. Include your website information, your contact information, etc. Craft a pitch to send with the press release, okay? Because media people receive hundreds every single day, right? You want to stand out. So get familiar with the content of these sites or media outlets. Include a reason why you think it's a good fit, okay? Or you can say, I saw this article and I thought your readers might be interested in this, right? Or, you reviewed this book and I'm in the same genre. I'm writing something similar. I think your readers might be interested in this, okay? Include your professional headshot always with the photo credits. Okay, always include that photo credit because now you can be sued if you publish a photo and don't properly attribute the photo and don't have permission. And include a high resolution book cover. Okay, so the high resolution images in your headshot and your book cover allow whoever's publishing it to have a good quality image and show you in the best light. Give them what they want. Now that you've hooked them, always give them exactly what they asked for and don't miss a deadline. If something comes up and you're going to miss the deadline, contact them in advance. Explain, I'm really sorry, but XYZ happened and I'm going to need a little more time. They will appreciate that. If you wait till the deadline passes and contact them, they may not give you any coverage at all. They may just stop, communicating with you. Or they might go ahead and do this because they're holding the space, but then they may not give you any opportunities again. If this is a Q&A, keep it in the format that's been presented to you, okay? Don't add colors, unique fonts, or add any graphics, okay? Because the person's going to have to remove all that formatting, okay? Do not just say, here are my answers, okay? They've given you a list of questions, okay? Go through that list of questions, add your answer to the question right under the question. Okay, so you want to make things super easy for them, right? And not make more work for them. Okay. Okay, we talked about the headshot. Okay. And make sure you give them the high-res professional headshot and the photo credit, okay, when you send, and don't make more work for them. Like, don't make them have to chase you for it because you didn't provide it, or they need a better quality shot, right? Or make sure that you include the cover image, okay? Because every time that you don't do these are marks against you, and people will remember them. If they ask for links, be sure to provide them. Don't just say, find me on Facebook and Instagram, okay? Make your lives easier. Make their lives easier. Don't make more work for them. Okay, I recently had an experience. I have a client who I take care of that client's blogs. He doesn't know how to do it, and he doesn't have the time to do it. So I do it for him. And one of the things we do is we host these author Q&As. And I'm very specific in what I tell people, what I want back from them. And recently, one came back with the find me on Facebook and Instagram, which I mentioned I had seen before. However, she had a long list of places find me with no links. So I had to go and hunt down all of her links to get them into the blog post. This meant more billable time for my client. Okay, so he sees the timesheet and he says, why did this blog post take so much more time? And I explained to him. So now he remembers, wow, I did that person a favor and they cost me more money, right? And for, someone in the media, you're making more work for them and you don't want to. If they give you a word count, don't go over it. Space considerations are a real thing. In print, they may have so many column inches or space that they need to fill, and that's it. So they may just cut part of the interview or the story, and you don't want them to do that, right? And online, you may think that space is infinite because you can just scroll, but everyone's attention spans are short and they're getting shorter, okay? So if they give you a word count, stick to it. Proof your work and proof it again. If you can get someone else to look at it, even better. Another set of eyes is always amazing. I can't tell you how many press releases I have received in a media capacity that have a ton of typos. One or two typos escape us. It's inevitable. We're human. But make sure, as much as you can, that there aren't any. I have seen press releases come in with the author's name misspelled. The title of a book had the in it and it said a whatever. I have seen publisher names omitted. I have seen an instance where the author was sharing a very positive review they were received from Kirkus, and it said Krikos reviewer instead of Kirkus reviews. Okay, so that kind of thing makes you look like you rushed, you're not professional, sort of thing. So proof again, get another set of eyes on it. Okay. Send everything exactly as they have requested. Okay. Pull up that email, hit reply. In that same email, send everything. Unless they've told you to do something differently. Okay. Then everything is in the same place. Make their lives easier. Don't make more work for them. They will remember this and the way the whole interaction went. And that's going to determine if they give you coverage in the future, right? You always want to leave this on a very positive note. Okay. It's time to get your name out there and create a following. If you do it as you go, you'll be very happy you did, right? That legwork is in place and you've got a following, an audience to market your book to, and you're just going to build from there. Okay. Now, as you work toward your launch date, you can concentrate on promoting the book. If you prefer to work with a professional, I can help. Just here's my email address, hello@mariakaramitsos.com. You can visit me on my website at mariakaramitsos.com. Now, that's a lot of information. Does anyone have any questions?
I may have a question that's probably not relating to everybody else. Because I'm a visual artist and professor, I have a very extensive website about my visual work. And part of that, I have added, a couple of pages about writing now that I started finally, doing it. So I've been on the fence as to whether I should have another website for writing, which I don't want to do, but I worry that that writing might get a little overshadowed by the visual art, you know.
Yes, it's very possible. Are the writing and the visual arts, are they related in any way?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is about the everything's about the immigrant experience and women's histories and so on.
I would say,
Basically identity,
okay,
search for identity.
okay, then it all works together, but make sure that your books are prominent enough that they don't get lost on there. You could have a specific landing page to link to when you're posting about your books, specifically. Um, Adding another website will kind of double your work. And since it's all already related, I'm sure, you have done some promoting as a visual artist, perhaps on social media. And so you've got a following there to build from, and you don't want to start from scratch and do that again.
Well, thank you so much. That's great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
I have a question. So when you take on a client, um, how do you charge them? Do you charge them per retainer, or do you charge them like an a la carte sort of thing? How do you normally do that?
So for me, it depends on what I'm doing for a client. Okay, so if say we're working on branding, that's going to be on a project basis. If I'm publishing your blog posts and formatting your newsletters, that's going to be hourly. If I'm doing PR, that's going to be hourly. So it really depends on what you're doing. I have another client that I facilitate coordination of her events in the Greek community. And so she pays me by the event. So it really depends. It depends, what we're doing and what's the nature of what we're doing. I had somebody come to me and say, I need you to design my A+ content for Amazon and post it for me. And so I gave them a flat fee for that. So it really depends what kind of work we're doing.
So what if they don't know? Like, what if they're like, well, I don't know. I just want to kind of get my book sold. Do you kind of put a strategy to do it like a project, and you put a strategy together, and then outline some of the steps that you're going to take, or
So
how do you approach that?
I
Like,
think that's a longer conversation to see where you're at and what your goals are. And some writers want to do the work themselves, and so they want more of a little consultative approach. Like, what are some things I should do here, and what do you think I should do here? And some say, gee, I don't have anything. So let's start with the branding because I don't even know my market, right? So it really all depends. And I've had people come to me and say, I published 3 books actually I had 3 clients like this. They had published books, several books already, and were not promoting them in the right market. And so 2 of them had a website, one didn't, and they just kind of thought, well, it's out there, it's going to sell by itself, and then it didn't. I worked with a children's book author who her books were based on lessons she learned from her yaya in growing up and being with her in her kitchen, and she was marketing her books at craft fairs and not getting anywhere. So I think it's a longer conversation about what's your project, what are you doing, what's your comfort level, what's your budget, and then we kind of figure out where to start from there.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Maria, may I ask you, do you still need to share your screen? Because then we can
Oh,
see.
no,
Yeah,
sorry.
You can.
great. This is everybody. Okay, go ahead. I don't have a question, but I just wanted to thank you for a truly, truly amazing presentation. Thorough, informative, all the steps are there. And let's give a huge round of applause to Maria. I'm not interrupting any questions. I just felt I had to say this now. We're amazed. The guidance that you provide is really what at least we were looking for, or I was looking for. It's a step by step, it's personalized, which is what we all, that we're not lost in the whole marketing stuff, because it is really large and sometimes you don't know where to start, where to get on, where to get off, how to do it, who to approach. And I would like to add that I have a wonderful publisher, and she has talked to me about the same and along the same lines. So I really value what she and you have presented to me and today to everybody else. Does anybody like to add
Great.
something?
And I'm glad to hear that you're getting some support, because most authors don't. It seems counterintuitive, but most authors put their money into the big names because that's the sure bet, right? They know they're going to make that money back, right? And so oftentimes there's no guidance at all.
Thank you.
Maria, what is your favorite platform? Do you like KDP, Barnes and Noble? Which one kind of do you tend to lean towards? All of them?
Well, I haven't published a book yet. So my book, I'm working with an editor, and we're currently revising that at the moment. So
It's going to be self-published though, right? Or are
hopefully
you?
not.
Hopefully not. Okay.
I'm going to pursue the traditional route and go from there.
What's your book about?
My book is it's set in Chicago, opens in the late 1950s in Chicago's original Greek town. So when a young woman exerts her American independence, the fallout forces her prominent businessman father to do whatever it takes to save the family's reputation and livelihood. So it's a story about how far a family will go to protect themselves from shame. So we're all Greek here. Well, Sharon, you're kind of Greek now too. So we've all had that drilled into our head since we were kids. Τι θα πει ο κόσμος? What will people say? So that's kind of the underlying, impetus for the book.
Yes.
So it's literature, your book,
It's fiction, yeah,
fiction.
historical fiction.
I think Stella has a question. Stella, please.
Yes, thank you, Maria. That was great. I have a question. You are on social media, you are busy with it. What is your practical suggestion on how to keep up? Do you devote a specific day and time? Is it a daily thing where you can stay connected? And like you say, I love to share someone's post, but many times I miss it because I didn't go to social media that day. So what do you have a practical kind of strategy to stay connected on top of things?
So on the weekends, I don't get on social media very often. Kind of as a rule, like try to have a little bit of a break. I do spend the first couple of hours of my day. I go through my email, I read blogs, I read the news, and then I post things on social media, and I will schedule things in advance. And if I have a little time in the evening, or maybe at lunch, I'll pop on and see what people are doing, and then I share. I share. So there's always, other authors that are posting things. They've got a book coming out. They got a great review. They won an award. They're doing a speaking engagement. So, just a few minutes. Like I wouldn't spend, I wouldn't say you should spend hours a day on social media.
Thank you.
Not the best use of your time.
No, thank you.
Coyote had her hand up. Oh, you're on mute.
Muted. Patty, I believe you had a
Okay.
question.
Congratulations.
Karamitsos.
Congratulations. Thank you very much for your information.
Thank you.
I have a question. I have published 3 books in Greece because it was less expensive in Greece. How should I advertise them in mostly in the Greek communities? Because it's about culture, our culture. It's a nonfiction and it's about our culture.
Okay. So just a point, advertising is paid. So you want to know how to promote them?
Yeah.
Okay. Are they available for sale? Can someone in the United States buy one easily?
I have some at home here in Virginia where I stay with my children.
Okay.
Because I stay half of the year, almost half of the year here and half of the year in Greece.
Do you have a website?
No.
No. Okay. Because you could sell them on a website. You can, are you on social media?
No.
No. Okay. Do you know anybody that might be willing to help you sell them?
I don't think so.
That is on social media, and they can direct to you emails, so then they can contact you. Otherwise, I would think about then some advertising, maybe in the National Herald, or one of the Greek American publications. With your email, make sure your email is on there, right? And how much you charge for the book, and then people can email you to make the purchase.
Well, I have to do homework for this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Leopi, where are you now? Are you in Greece or are you here?
Oh, I'm here, but I'm leaving on Monday.
On Monday? Okay. Because I was going to say we have all the festivals coming up and you may want to do something there. I don't know.
I will not be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. You need a website. And then you can manage it from here and from Greece.
There you go.
Yeah. So,
Patty.
Yeah, Maria, it was wonderful. I enjoyed your talk. I learned a lot. There was some nuggets of wisdom here, which I wasn't aware of. So I really liked what you offered. Thank you. I just had a couple questions. One was from my own experience, and we're talking about 20 years ago. So I've been doing this, and in the beginning, it's a lot of work, like you said. It's a lot of work. And for my first book, Lipsy's Daughter, I did all kinds of things like what you were saying, but the website stuff wasn't quite there yet. It was just at the beginning. So I had to contact the HEPA. I contacted Daughters of Penelope. They had me do fundraisers. So one thing that people can do, and I don't know if you've done it or you're familiar with it, is to contact these organizations and say, you get a cut from this talk. And in one case, I talked with the Daughters of Penelope. They did a dinner, and out of the money that the $700 that I made in that 1 hour, they took a cut. So those were the lucrative days. Not anymore. Not anymore. And then KDP came along, right? What Maria Antocas was saying, Presbitera. And I made a bundle then when it first started because I had my ebooks. Not anymore. They're just languishing. So we have to sort of be like one step ahead, right? And so for somebody like me who's done this for over 20 years, I started with the physical and then I went to the online stuff. Now, what's the next step for me who has 4 books published, 2 in Greek and 2 poetry books? What do we do? Hire you? And if so, can you give us sort of like a price range?
Oh, I guess that everything kind of depends on what specifically you're doing and where you're at. So a couple of things that you can do. You could redesign the covers and relaunch the books. You could you could try to do some events. Like Presbitera said, you could try to sell at festivals. My client that I do events with, so the groups, they buy her books at a discount and then they sell them at the event as a fundraiser. So Philoptochos groups, different Greek organizations. So, there's that fundraising incentive in there for them to get involved. So, I would start with your parish, any organizations that you belong to. And your you remind me, the one book is set on the island of Lipsi, and the other
2 books. The first is on Lipsi. The second one is on Kos Island. So 2 island books, and then 2 historical books.
Okay. Another thing you could do is look for if there are any societies or groups that are made up of people from Kos or from Lipsi, and see if they might be interested in doing something with you. Maybe if they have a website, or if they have their own little, what do they call them? Like their own little spiti, their own little meeting place. Maybe they'd be willing to have some of those books for sale there.
What about a box set? Do you like that as a ploy?
Box set can be good. Box set can be good depending, if things work together. Another thing I've seen people do is, the 10th anniversary special edition of this book with a new cover, and maybe there's a brand new chapter in it, right? Or something like that. So it's a special edition. Sometimes that gets people excited. With your poetry, maybe you can find some other poets that you can do some things together with. Maybe it's online or in-person events, or if they've been able to find a place that will help them sell. If you have a local poetry foundation or organization, they may be able to help you with that as well.
Thank you.